See, every 5 years we stand in line, okay, sweating under the sun, only to vote, holding our hope, because of why? Because we've been promised by the politicians that they're going to save our lives, improve our lives. For normal mwananchi, they've sold hope for us, okay? And now we believe them. What do? We go vote, okay? I think that's what happens every 5 years. Every 5 years. But what happens? The same faces. What do we get? The same lies, okay? The same suffering, okay? Find that immediately after voting, people go back their homes and nothing changes, okay? So we find that everything we've voted for, everything we had been promised comes all and becomes lies, right? So let me ask you a question, okay? Is voting even worth it anymore? Or are we just choosing who to eat next? Because all they do is literally eat, okay? Someone just goes there, vie for the seat, and do nothing. Huh? I mean, majority of these leaders do nothing anyways. That's what they do. And it's all about false promises ever. You find that politicians, they have been there for like what, 30 years? And if you look at their career, you can tell that they've done nothing apart from just false promises. And you find that some of us, we are very busy we are even willing to die for them. We go to the streets all the time. When they call for demonstrations, we appear, and it's only us who get killed. You find that for them, they are, in fact, some, they don't even appear. See, they are living in Karen. They don't show up in the streets like you and me, okay? And it's only us who get hurt in the end. But we are so hard to understand. We don't listen. We don't learn from history, okay? I mean, look at the promises they've made, okay? The Big Four agenda, for example, I think that came with President Kenyatta, right? Promising stadiums, promising, food security, promising housing and stuff like that. But did you realize that towards 2022, food prices were extremely high, despite the fact that in the Big Four agenda, I think food security was there, but food prices were hiking like crazy. Why? Because there was insufficient food supply in the country. That means that the farmers were not empowered well, and also the policies that came during that time were not in favor of the farmers, right? So you find that a lot of cartels were just importing food from outside the country, right, into the country. And the small scale farmer, what does he do? He gets nothing, right? All he gets is competition and no market for his product, right? You find that fertilizers were very expensive, such that they can't produce food. Because what happens? You produce food, you make losses, right? You go at a loss, right? So politicians promise us stadiums. They promise to build schools, right? And look at what we got. Stadiums, they were never built. Youth funds mismanaged. COVID money, even, I mean, seriously. I mean, they stole COVID money, right? NYS looted. KEMSA, a scandal, literally. BBA was literally a distraction. I mean, all we get is slogans, but all they get is standards, right? I mean, they're always winning. We are the ones who are always losing, right? I mean, they promise us better tomorrow, and they give themselves allowances, allowances all the time, allowances even for sitting to do the job that we hired them to do, right? I mean, come on. I mean, why are we paying allowances for politicians to sit in parliament and debate? I mean, that's the task that we hired them to do in the first place. But somehow they need allowances to do the job that we hired them to do. This does not make any sense to me. I don't know if it does to you, because for me it doesn't. No? So what things are we supposed to change now? Let's be real. They don't change, okay? They just switch parties, colors, collisions, and one day they're in Jubilee, the next day they're in ODM, right? They're in UDA, and forming another movements and movements and movements, and then we still vote because they come from our tribe. They brought us wheelbarrows. They give us the 200 shillings, and then what do we get in return? We get 5 years of poverty, 5 years of frustrations. We complain, but they really don't fear us. Why? Because we don't hold them into account, right? You see, all that happens is theft and theft of public resources, right? But there are no consequences for those people. They just walk scot free, right? You go there, you steal millions, you also get paid millions than most of our Kenyan employees. I mean, being a politician is literally one of the most luxurious career you can have in Kenya. If you are in office, you're literally getting paid millions, right? But if you are a doctor, you get less. If you are a teacher, you get peanuts, right? But if you're a politician, you eat heavily. You even paid to just sit, okay, in parliament. I mean, that's a scam. Okay? You see, I think this is they're scamming us because you find that their kids are studying somewhere abroad. I don't know which country. But for us, we are still struggling to understand what the CBC is. We're still struggling to even cope up with the costs that comes with CBC, right? It's still confusing us. But now, for them, their kids are studying abroad. They're studying international schools, right? Where they don't even follow this curriculum. You find that some politicians they even go get treated abroad, right? So literally everything they're doing is they do it abroad, right? They don't even want to support this economy. But for us, we go to hospital beds, there are no beds, okay? You go to hospital, there are no beds. The insurance system is literally a scam, right? You go to primary schools in most parts of this country, you find that the primary schools are literally like they were literally constructed in the 1980s. They are as if they were constructed in 1980s because of the poor maintenance that it has. Sometimes you even wonder, are students studying here? Because you find that, I mean, the floors they are torn all over the place. There is no painting. Some even study under a tree. I think I saw a video the other time of students, or was it pictures? Yeah, in Turkana, studying under a tree. And can you believe there was this? I think Eriko Monde went there and facilitated that reconstruction of classes and all. And now they decided to play politics on it. I don't know, some leader there sent goons there to demolish that class. Can you believe that? So they are not willing to construct it, but if someone comes along to construct, then they are treated as what? Enemies? They say that that person is pretending. I mean, come on, seriously. I mean, there are things that politics should not be, involved in, right? You should not put politics and politicize everything. I mean, there's something that it was just someone who saw something and decided to fix it. And now they're saying that they're making the government look bad. Can you believe that? Crazy. So, I mean, the system is just built for them to eat, literally. And this is how it is. It's not to serve us, but to feed them. The MPs they earn more than everyone else. And you know what they do in parliament? All they do there is just debate, especially when it comes to debates concerning salaries, right? You find that they always want to add themselves, they want to raise their salaries, but they don't consider everyone else, right? So why do we keep repeating the cycle? They exploit, but we don't listen. Why? Because of one is poverty, right? You are too hungry to think critically. You see, if you don't have anything to eat, then you are going to take that 200 shillings. You are not going to die because and say, no, I'm not going to eat now. Give me that 200 shillings. Let me eat fast, okay? So I think poverty is one key. You find that we are singing along the roads, singing for politicians so that we can get to that 50 bob, right? Tribalism. And I think this is the most exploited one, right? You find that politicians are exploiting us. They try to split us instead of promoting the unity that we all need. We are all Kenyans, right? You find that there is that politics of tribe, right? We want our person in power. That's all that's there. And they know that sometimes, especially the elder generation, you find that they are so focused on tribes. But now I think it's something that we need to change. And then there is another thing is illiteracy. I mean, there are some people who are illiterate. They can't reason. Okay, if you can't reason, then and the politician is very smart, smarter than you, then definitely he's going to exploit you, right? Left, right, and center, and there's nothing you're going to do. And you find that I think there's this saying that when people become smarter, then the politicians are in trouble. I don't know if that's the case because now they can't lie easily, right? Another thing is religion. They're exploiting religion. They know that 90% of Kenyans are religious. You find that 70% are Christians, and I think 20% or 25 are Muslims, right? So religion is a big thing, and so you find that politicians they always make sure that they are always um, with the religion. Okay, last time I heard the president is building a church instead of literally, and he cannot keep quiet. He always has to. If they contribute to the church or they do something to church, it's not just charity. They make sure they publicize it, make sure it's known, so that you, as the person who is believes in religion, can agree, with them, and make sure that you support them because they are religious, because is person from God, right? Is someone who believes in what you believe, and I think that's they're exploiting it, and find that they're actually using the Bible to do it. They're using the Bible to win, not just believe, right? So is there hope? I think it is because one, we need civic education, right? Last time I saw this Morara Kabaso who was going, through the country, exposing ghost projects, right, and doing civic education. And I think civic education is very important. Educating the people each and every time. Tell them that 200 shillings is not just enough for 5 years, because this person will go make millions and millions, and for you just voted him in because of the 200 shillings. So it'll pay you off for your votes and then relax for 5 years clean, right? And then I think another thing is youth involvement. Last time there was this Gen Z, demonstrations. A lot of people were killed, which is so unfortunate. But you find that I think the youth are waking up, right? We are waking up because I'm also part of the youth. We are waking up, and I think if we actively get involved in politics, because you find that we are the one who learn it, not like the older generations, right? If we can be actively involved in politics and also show up during voting, right? You find that most of the youth they really don't vote. I think that's the reason why we always have our leaders who are not working for us, right? because we don't show up. We are busy complaining, but we don't show up to vote, right? And I think we also need to be involved. We need to run for office ourselves, right? We need to run for office. And change will not come from if it's just idle, right? And I think we need to work towards achieving that. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think Kenyan politics are hopeless? Please leave your comment in the comment section, and if you're still watching, please leave a like, and of course, support the channel by subscribing. And I'll be dropping out videos every day, and make sure you don't miss out. Thank you. See you in the next one.